you're watching part 1 of the 10-part series covering the entities of the Backrooms. Before we begin, I just want to clarify that I will not be focusing on the Backrooms found footage series by Kane Pixels that has recently picked up popularity, because that variation of the creepypasta isn't really, canonically related to the Backrooms wiki variation, the one that I have been using as a resource for this series. So, here's the thing. The thing is, I've been writing these scripts for like the last year and a half, and including the Kane Pixels variation would just throw a wrench in the works, if you know what I'm talking about. When it comes to like, visual effects and stuff, etc., etc., that stuff is amazing. I mean, the Backrooms fan base has went head over heels for that, but a lot of people have already done that. They've already covered every nook and cranny of that. So yeah, what I'm going to be doing is just listing all of the entities in the Backrooms, and I mean like all of them. Alright, so sit back, take a deep breath, and enjoy. If you happen to be wandering in the Backrooms for any amount of time, you will come across other living beings in the forms of physical creatures, psychological presences, visual illusions, artificial intelligence, or ailments, to name a few. The most widely accepted term for these beings is entities. They are pretty difficult to examine, thus the standard protocol for ensuring your safety while in the presence of an entity is identifying and evading. Entities are unpredictable and unknown, since there are many, sometimes even conflicting reports of entities, only a portion of which have been confirmed to be true. Entity number 2, nicknamed Window. The windows are creatures in the shape of a window, with a dark, vaguely human-looking figure behind the window, and it is advised to avoid visual contact with them. They usually appear on levels 1, 2, and 188. Some windows don't contain a figure and are regarded as safe. However, some can lead to sublevel 1.5. There is currently no existing first report of the windows, but it is believed that the oldest record of the entity is a report by a group known as the Lost, who refer to entity number 2 as the Men Behind the Glass. Entity number 3, nicknamed Smiler. Smilers are hostile creatures, and there have been many confirmed Smiler sightings. They are attracted to light. It is thus advised to always keep Smiler repellent or a spare light source around when encountering the entity. If you don't happen to have any of the two, you are to maintain eye contact and back away slowly in order to ensure your survival. Smilers have a visible smile with sharp teeth and glowing eyes. Shocking, I know. And it's unknown whether they possess a physical body or not. It is virtually impossible to pinpoint the original discovery, but one of the earliest reports of the entity is, again, by the Lost, who called Smilers the ones that smile. Entity number 4, nicknamed Death Moth. Death moths are giant moths found in level 2, 3, and 5, where their base of operations, the hive, is located. While the male death moths are mostly harmless, females are substantially larger, hostile, and can spit deadly acid. The hive is where the death moths are most aggressive, and is also where the death moth king and queen can be found. The Lost called them the Flies of Terror. Entity number 5, nicknamed Clump. Clumps are described as strange bundles of limbs and can be encountered in levels 2 and 3. Clumps look harmless from a distance, but each clump has a hidden, up to 8-foot-long arm used to grab unsuspecting wanderers, devour them, and absorb their limbs and fragments of their consciousness. If you hear what sounds like a group of people running, it's advised to retreat. Entity number 6, nicknamed Duller. I hope that I'm not butchering that name. Dullars are dark gray, slender, almost human-looking creatures. However, they lack several prominent features such as a face or ears. Dullars are hostile, but they typically run away from anything that approaches them, and usually only prey on wanderers that are not sane. If you sense that a duller might be preying on you, it is advised to keep almond water around. Entity number 7, nicknamed Jerry. Jerry is an individual entity taking the form of a blue parrot and can occasionally be found in level 1 and frequently in level 2, mainly in his own room, Jerry's room. More on those in another video. Jerry can be tamed with sunflower seeds or almond water. If you're not able to tame him, he will assimilate you into the followers of Jerry, a mysterious cult residing in Jerry's room. Entity number 8, nicknamed Hound. A hound appears to be a human-like creature with long black hair growing on the head. The name Hound comes from the dog-like nature of these entities, crawling on all fours. Hounds cannot be tamed. Entity number 9, nicknamed Faceling. Facelings are a general term for faceless people that roam levels 1, 2, and 3, and are almost identical to dullers. There are multiple types, each with varying levels of hostility. They are one of the most populous entities in the Backrooms, and likely one of the first entities you will encounter. Facelings are also one of the first entities ever discovered in the Backrooms. One of the earliest MEG reports ever written referenced them, and journal entries referencing Facelings date back to 1909. However, their exact origin is still unknown. The most common two forms of Entity 9 are adult Facelings and child Facelings. Adult Facelings are generally friendly and do not act with hostility unless provoked. They typically have the appearance of average adult humans, with terrifyingly smooth skin replacing the entire face. Child Facelings are very hostile. They typically appear in groups of 3 and will torment any living being that they encounter. Other types of Facelings exist too. There are the pink dress Facelings, who are to be avoided at all costs since encountering one is a guaranteed death sentence. The slow, wrinkly, passive, and hunched-over old man Facelings who occasionally approach wanderers with the intent of gently holding their hand and looking at their face. When a Faceling no-clips, it turns into a polygonal Faceling, similar to an adult Faceling but with a polygonal body. They have a plastic texture and emanate a noise similar to radio static. Nude Facelings, as the name implies, lack clothing. They roam around aimlessly until spotted and then run away. Shadow Facelings are similar to adult Facelings, but they are pitch black, much more hostile and not as strong. False Facelings are unique in that they sometimes have partial or even full facial features, such as half of an eye, a nostril, a mouth, teeth beneath a layer of skin, etc. Otherwise, they act like typical adult Facelings. Almost every staff member that entered the J. Barry Institute on the Puzzling level 16 have become Facelings. They are known simply as the J. Barry Mental Institute staff and are harmless unless provoked. Facelings that are members of Jerry's cult are known as indoctrinated Facelings. I'm sorry. While not biologically different from adult Facelings, they are known for their different behavior, as they will attempt to take any wanderer to Jerry and assimilate them into the cult. Wanderers that spend more than 1 week residing in level 401 will lose their face and sense of identity, effectively becoming a Faceling. Asking them for a way out of the level is the only safe method of exiting level 401. They are considered harmless and are known simply as the Hotel Vimmer residents. And lastly, memory Facelings, the most dangerous and powerful of them all. They are rare and will take on the physical appearance of a loved one from your memories, without a face, of course, in order to rid the wanderer of their sanity and kill them. Theories state that memory Facelings are a crossbreed between adult Facelings and entity number 42, memory worms. However, that's, debatable. Entity number 10, nicknamed Skin Stealer. Skin Stealers are tall, pale yellow humanoids with sunken white eyes. Their outer layer of flesh is covered with microscopic bumps similar to the suckers on the tentacle of an octopus. They are most commonly found in the first 4 levels. A Skin Stealer also has the ability to speak, but it cannot comprehend language. It will repeat what it hears in order to lure in prey, but it cannot actually communicate. The blood of a Skin Stealer is also completely transparent, so a good way to identify Entity 10 is by the color of their blood.
Entity number 11, nicknamed Burster. These creatures are found on level 3 and appear vaguely humanoid in appearance. They crawl on all fours to move across the halls of the backrooms, with their back legs further stretched out. On the back of the burster are calluses that explode in small pops of acidic fluids when agitated or hunting prey. The bursters will stay mostly docile, in a fetal-like position, but when a living creature approaches, the calluses on its back will burst. After this occurs, the burster will wait for the acid to kill the victim. If the victim survives, the burster will continue to spray acid until its prey has succumbed to shock, wherein the burster will, of course, consume the victim. Bursters appear to also be somewhat damaged by the acid they produce. When a burster is hurt by either an excess amount of acid within a burst or by other means, they begin to harden their skin in a cocoon-like material. This cocoon-like material can be broken with enough force, causing the burster to die. Bursters are also extremely vulnerable to almond water. Contact with almond water causes severe burns to the entity, from which they usually do not recover. Entity number 12, nicknamed Howler. Howlers are unseen creatures that howl prominently when someone enters the backrooms, but no one has ever seen one. It is known that they are provoked by loud noises and howl loudly in response to them. Many explorers have produced theories stating that howlers exist physically and on where they may be, but no significant progress on finding them has been made yet. Entity number 13, nicknamed Transporter. Also known as grabbers, transporters are tall, dark, floating humanoid figures with no legs. They can appear anywhere past level 3 and get more common as you go farther through the backrooms. They can appear when you reach a T-junction in a hallway. When it sees you, the transporter will walk towards you, gradually speeding up until it finally reaches you. It will then grab onto your shoulders, and then you either die or you're thrown through a void and land in various levels. Should a transporter be spotted, attempt to go opposite to where it is facing. Entity number 14, nicknamed Revic. Revics can be found on level 5 and level 7, characterized by their many legs and ability to burrow into the ground. When looking for Revics, listen for rumbling sounds in the ground. After around 5 to 9 seconds of standing on a Revic-infested area, the ground will begin to break, and the Revic will break out of the floor and grab its victim, pulling it underground. What happens at this point is unknown, but the victim may eventually re-emerge as a skeleton. Entity number 15, nicknamed Wretch. Wretches are a human-like entity, often described as acting undead or zombie-like. Once human, these entities were transformed through a poorly understood process, thought to stem from deprivation of food, water, and sleep. Unsurprisingly, the process of transformation into a wretch appears to be related to hunger, thirst, and lack of sleep. Isolation is thought to accelerate the process, judging by the high concentration of wretches in unexplored or dangerous areas. The process of transformation into a wretch is commonly referred to as the wretched cycle among wanderers, and cannot be reversed by normal means. However, a transformation in process can be stalled by proper sustenance and rest, including almond water and royal rations. Complete prevention of the process is possible, but difficult and risky at best. Wall masks are thought to reverse the transformation at a cost, however, no such records exist. Reality fresheners are hypothesized to aid in prevention as well, however, note that this will only stop the cycle, not reverse it. The wretched cycle lasts between several weeks to months, and has 3 phases, as follows.
Stage 1. Initially, these symptoms manifest as itchiness and irritation, comparable to a poison ivy rash. Over time, subtle psychological symptoms will set in, eventually resulting in erratic and aggressive behavior and a complete change in personality traits. During stage 2 of the wretched cycle, skin and muscle tissue will begin to dissolve in an unnatural fashion. The outer skin will start to redden and flake off, eyes will become bloodshot and irritated, and hair loss will set in. Survivors of this stage proclaim the itchiness of this stage to be unbearable, even describing scratching layers of their skin off in an attempt to stop it. Speech is still intelligible, but consists only of pleas for water, food, and help. Stage 3. At this stage, nails and teeth fall out of their natural positions, often regrowing elsewhere in unnatural quantities and sizes. Eyelids and lips dissolve, forcing the eyes and mouth to remain open constantly. It is unknown if the consciousness of the original victim remains at this stage. The behavior of an average wretch is comparable to Entity 10, possessing little intelligence but astounding strength. Rarely, however, wretches have displayed intelligent, even human-like behavior and ability to craft tools and wield weapons. In packs, wretches normally act in unison, behaving as a hive mind. Weaker wretches do exist, but the majority possesses superhuman strength, often able to break through walls despite their fragile, skeletal appearance. The speed of wretches varies as well, ranging from a slow shamble to sprints surpassing human capabilities. Mutations are frequent in wretches, often resulting in misplaced eyes, disjointed or excess limbs, or even fleshy skeletal wings of sorts. A common and formidable variant manifests as a deformed mass of flesh, consisting almost entirely of eyes, mouths, and other orifices of unknown purpose. Entity number 16, nicknamed, this. I will refer to this entity as Entity 16. Entity 16 is a large 16-legged spider-like creature found on levels 1, 2, and 3. While a close encounter with it is highly dangerous, not only are they slow, they also aren't observed to chase prey. So as long as you're careful, they're essentially harmless. Sizes vary greatly, but the average size of Entity 16 is around 4 inches wide and 7 inches in length. Injuries inflicted by Entity 16 are usually treatable, so if you can notice them quickly enough, it's a good sign that you will probably live to see another day. Entity number 17, nicknamed Crawler. Crawlers is the collective name for all affected by a certain species of fungus, named crawler fungus. Its growth is extremely aggressive, and the infection is present in abundance on many levels. Therefore, this makes crawlers an extremely active threat in the backrooms. The crawler fungus can only spread to humans through liquid and thrives in warm, dark, and moist places, and can only spread by contact with small animals or insects. Once these animals or insects reach stage 4 of the infection, they will become extremely aggressive and will attempt to spread the fungus through any means necessary. There is no known cure to the infection. Crawler-infected animals do not progress past stage 4. Once humans are infected, they will progress from stage 1 to stage 5 at around 12 minutes following initial infection. Stage 1 lasts around 3 minutes. This stage is very similar to the first stage of the Wretched cycle, in that it consists mainly of unbearable itchiness. Stage 2 lasts around 1 minute. In this stage, small, fluffy white spots will begin to appear on the victim's skin, alongside extreme hunger and excessive salivation. Stage 3 lasts just 30 seconds and consists of the victim becoming engulfed in crawler fungus, a steep rise in blood temperature, and a scorching fever. At stage 4, which lasts approximately 7.5 minutes, the fungus will begin spreading internally and within the brain, taking control of the brain stem. Their eyes will become bloodshot, and their blood will begin boiling at a temperature of around 150 degrees Celsius. This is far beyond normal human resistance to high temperature. However, the victim's body will still function due to the infection's resistance. Hair and nails will also grow at an extremely fast rate. At stage 5, the final stage, the infected will sever the bottom half of their body and crawl with their arms to move around. They will receive a sensory increase with extraordinary sight and hearing capabilities, and all fungus on the exterior of the body will spontaneously combust, charring and removing a few layers of skin. The fungus within their brain will have full control of the infected, and will regulate the body to maintain a suitable host. Entity number 18, nicknamed the Beast of Level 5. Entity 18 is mysterious. It seems that only one person has ever encountered it, or survived encountering it. The entity describes itself as a businessman and a man of his word, but in the article, the author states that Entity 18
isn't to be trusted, and that he's going to watch you until he sees you break. The image of what is probably Entity 18 on the Wikidot also shows a man in a business suit and a squid head, which I kind of like that. Entity number 19, nicknamed Disease. Entity number 19, an ailment simply known as the disease, is a virus that lurks in the backrooms. The virus is most often found in moist, damp environments. This includes rotting wallpaper, moss, stagnant water, and dead bodies. The main two symptoms of the disease are red, painful bumps covering the skin and severe eye irritation. While the disease is lethal, it is not an instant death sentence. It can be treated by resting, interacting with others, and drinking plenty of fluids. Almond water can help too. While there are several different strains, other symptoms of the virus can include dehydration, stomach pain, and audiovisual hallucinations. There are three main stages to the virus following initial infection. If the disease goes untreated for about 100 hours, the infected will die. Stage 1 occurs around 5 to 24 hours after initial infection. Individual hives will begin to form on the body. Eye irritation will occur, becoming more severe as time goes on. Severe stomach pain may begin at this stage, and the infected will become anxious. Stage 2 occurs 24 to 72 hours after initial infection. Hives will begin to spread to all parts of the body. They can sometimes break open, resulting in minor bleeding. Blood will begin forming in the eye, resulting in visual impairments, and severe dehydration will also occur. Auditory hallucinations begin at this stage. Stage 3 occurs up to 80 hours after initial infection. Bumps formed across the skin will break open, causing severe bleeding, giving off a foul odor. Eyes will break open, and the infected will lose the ability to generate sweat and saliva. Hallucinations are most severe at this point. Stomach tissue will be almost entirely dissolved, and death is guaranteed typically about 90 to 100 hours after infection. However, as stated, the disease is not an instant death sentence. Through proper treatment, the severe symptoms can be avoided. If you begin to experience symptoms, remain far away from others to avoid infecting them. Remain in a cool, dry area and ingest water, or if possible, almond water. Avoid any movement if possible, and do not overwhelm your body in any way. Breathe slowly and consume small amounts of food and water. Most who recover develop immunity.
Entity number 20, nicknamed The Thing on Level 7. The Thing has little information on specific detail thus far, having only been seen by a handful of travelers. It appears to be the only one of its kind left, and is highly intelligent. Although incapable of speech, it can write. It is omnivorous and appears to care little for humans, as it has stated when asked. It is a black snake-like figure that is said to be roughly 11 kilometers long, with no features except for a large mouth that is only visible when it is open, and is big enough to, quote, swallow a building whole, unquote. This mouth takes up a third of its face, with sharp, 10-meter-long teeth inside. It reportedly hunts down movement, so standing still and making as little noise as possible is advised. Despite its appearance, the only traveler to come into physical contact with it has given it the ironically appealing nickname Tiny, which it appears to dislike. It has insane regenerative abilities, making it near immortal and, as of now, is the only living being native to level 7. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and consider clicking the subscribe button below the video. If you want to be notified when I release part 2, click the bell button so you won't miss out. But until then, take care and stay safe.